Israel and the Gulf states have been getting closer for years now, even if it's been in secret.
Right. I mean, look, one of the major things that propelled this forward was, ironically, the outcome of Obama's foreign policy, which was to strengthen Iran and the Muslim Brotherhood, that brought Israel and the Gulf Arab states specifically far closer together. And that was, of course, by accident. Now, what this administration did that is much different than previous administrations and previous attempts at peace was they did focus in on an outside-in approach. They had their hand open for Palestinian negotiators to get into negotiations with Israel. That was what they hoped would happen. But at the same time, they were not going to allow the rest of the region to be held hostage to Palestinian rejectionist demands. And instead sought to engage the rest of the region. That has actually paid dividends, especially if you consider that most of the previous peace processors, those who worked on this as a career in multiple administrations, they've all said that this type of thing was impossible. So it was a fresh set of eyes and new ideas. And I think we're seeing it pay off now.
So the U.S. presidential elections are quickly approaching. November is almost here. If Trump is reelected, who do you think is next to normalize ties with Israel? Or does Trump even need to be a part of it? Could this continue without him in power?
Good question. I think this type of movement is the kind of fact on the ground that makes it far more difficult to just rein back. Even if, say, Biden were elected, the fact is this is a good move for the region and it's good for the United States, especially if the U.S. wants to continue to pull back from the region. If you recall, President Trump's viewpoint was to originally create what he called the Middle East Strategic Alliance, kind of a Arab NATO that would deal with the region's problems as the U.S. pulled back. Now, while that may not have come to its full fruition, this type of deal by the U.S. relying on allies who think alike and have common interests to deal with the problems in their own region is precisely what the Trump administration wants to see. And it's hard to how a Biden administration would be against that. It's only in the United States if you were to be heavily influenced by, say, Rashida Tlaib or under Ilhan Omar or the far more progressive wing of the Democrat Party. But it's going to be kind of hard to stop this train. Also, I should mention, the message is unmistakable, even if the Palestinians don't necessarily want to let on that this is exactly what they're hearing. They are seeing that the region is moving forward without them. So the idea is they need to seize the moment and they can't just rely on everyone else delivering things for them.